A bunch of arrows are seen stuck into a tree. Ayn comments to the MC that it looked like her slave has no talent in the bow and arrow and that she had told him to aim at the arrow that was already stuck in the tree. The MC was drawing the string of the bow with sweat dripping down his face. As he calls out to Ayn, he asks her if it was all right. With her legs warped around his, she smirks upon hearing the MC question and informs him that he was the one that asked her to teach him how to use the bow, and that this was the way how young Balak warriors were taught. She continues to instruct the MC that he should bend his back a little more, while explaining that he won't be able to use the sword for a long time because of his body. He needed to learn how to use the bow. The sudden appearance of Ayn's pet wolf appearing in the bushes behind them. Because I ain't to press a little too hard on Vikir's back, as a loud cracking sound is heard. She calls out to her pet wolf called Vikir, asking if he had found something. But Kira barks in response as the MC is seen kneeling on the ground, trembling in pain over Ayn's touch on his back. His face turned purple as he struggles with the pain, while Ayn calls him a slave-in to get up. She smiles widely at him and informs him that from here onwards, they would be moving quickly. A long stream of water is seen moving rapidly, as large spikes of rocks are located. At the end explains to the MC that this is the area where the river and ocean connect, so that both the ocean's water and animals could occupy this area, informs him that her grandmother told her about this, that a salmon believes that if it successfully swims up the waterfall, it could evolve into a huge beast, as large numbers of salmon fishes could be seen swimming in the waters and jumping into the air. However, Ayn continues her story about how most salmons fail to rise above the waterfall and fall eventually. They would be punished when they fall onto the sharp rocks, and that the fish that falls onto the sharp rocks would become good food for an ox-bearer. A huge bear with horns on its head is seen standing over a salmon. Then it failed to escape the waterfall, and instead had been impaled by a sharp rock. The MC asks if what they were seeing was an ox bear, as it looked like a completely different species. It was totally different level compared to the ones that he had seen. Iron tells Vikir that the ox bear in front of them was not an ordinary one as they continue to hide behind the bushes. She explains that it was an ox-bearer that was born from a superior bloodline and has survived countless pandemonium. The MC looks over to Aya nervously and asked if she was telling him to capture that bear version of Godzilla. Iron tells him that there was no way, as she didn't tell her pet wolf Bakura to find her a strong female to hunt a claw. Brownfoot appears, while Ayn tells Vikir that their prey was the male bear that comes to court. Just as a huge number of male ox bears appear beside the female ox bear, the female and male ox beards were soon engaged in an intense eye-staring contest. The female ox beard soon slaps the male ox bear straight into his face. Seeing this situation caused the MC to be shocked. The female oxbeard continues to bitch slap each of the male oxbears one by one easily with each of her claws. The MC commented that the female oxbear keeps rejecting the proposal of the male oxbears. He soon wonders about how strong of a male oxbear was the female oxbear she was looking for, as the male oxbear continued to leave the female oxbear one by one. I interns to the MC and informs him that he had the wrong way of thinking about it, as it was the opposite. She finally tells him that the female oxbeard was not looking for a strong male oxbear, just as a pink-looking male oxbear appears in front of the female oxbear. Both the male and female oxbeards soon touch noses with each other. The MC was stunned to see that the strong Godzilla-like female oxbear had chosen the weakest-looking male oxbear, but Iron seemed happy, as she explains that the female oxbeard was looking for a mate that she could boss around. She explains to the MC that when a strong male oxbear gets excited, there were situations where it kills its partner, which made them not popular among the oxbears, which was why the female oxbears would look for weaker and smaller partners. This was similar to how the Balak warriors would select their partners. She then asks the MC if he knew what kind of spouses were the most popularly chosen. She answers her own question by saying it was a young entity that possessed excellent DNA, and it would be even better if they were weakened due to an injury. The MC remained silent upon hearing Iron's explanation and thought about how Iron was basically saying that as long as she gets the DNA, then everything would be fine. The female and male ox bear soon left together, as Zion tells the MC that they were going to wait as the female oxbeard will suppress the male oxbeard's strength completely deep within the forest. A mix of roaring and growling sexual sounds could be heard throughout the forest. The MC was seen standing still with a dull expression on his face as he continues to hear the sexual roars and moans of the ox bears. He was standing silently in front of a cave entrance as the growling noises became louder. Food made up of berries, fish, and fruits are seen piled on top of leaves. It had been 4 days since the MC had to listen to the oxbeard's moans, which soon made Vikir unaware of what he was doing right now. Iron soon appears and asks him if he have left any food for the ox bears. He tells her that he did, as he returns to their campsite, where a shelter and campfire had been made. The MC has been giving the hungry oxbeards food over the past 4 days, so that they could continue their mating. Iron picks up a pinkish berry in her hand and explains to him that the fruit has an effect where it boosts one's strength temporarily, but in the end it was harmful as it consumes one's lifespan. Instead, she further explains that the female who was more intelligent would understand their intentions and that the male would understand as well, but in order to handle the female, he had no choice but to eat it. DMC thought of the scenario where the male ox bear was attempting to escape from the female ox bear. He now understood the reason why Ein had chosen a big and strong female as their target. Her plan was to deplete the male's strength. 2 bowls of soup are seen on the ground, which Iron had made. She tells DMC to eat up so he could heal. The MC accepts the meal and commented that the ox bears were really mating like crazy. Isn't that normal? Iron tells DMC, which causes him to spit out the bowl of soup. She giggles of Vikir's reaction and tells him that all male ballots were like that. Continues the top Vikir, asking him if he could do it, like the ox bears, as he wipes the soup off his face. She leans closer to DMC, playfully teasing him and asking if he could. A fierce, loud roar soon catches Ian's attention. DMC was alarmed to see Ion's reaction as she quickly grabs onto her about telling DMC to get ready. As the fierce roar continues to be heard, she noted that the female ox-bearer had finally been impregnated, as the female ox-bear is seen towering over the collapsed body of the male. The female oxbeard lets out one more loud and fierce roar into the air that causes it to shake. The fierce roar causes the male ox-bear to run away from the cave in a hurry. The Kiranayan are seen sitting on the branches of the tree, then ask Zion about why the female ox-bear was chasing the male ox-bear away. She explains that an ox-bear that has finished mating is no different from a competitive predator who has intruded a territory, and that it was a warning to the male ox-bear to never come back. DMC understands and commented that the female ox-bear wants to sleep since she had used her strength and has not slept for the past 4 days. As he looks at Iron looks at him and tells him that the female ox-bear would hide herself in a safe and remote place, and that from here onwards they would find her traces and chase after quietly as Iron prepares her bow and arrows. She tells DMC that once the female ox-bear starts to go to sleep, that was when they would start their hunt up in the snowy mountains. But curious legs could be seen walking through the mountains. Iron and Vikir are seen riding on Bakira's back between 2 large pillars of stone. DMC commented that the female ox-bear would be tired, but is moving so far away. Iron tells him that she was finding a place that has the least number of threats that the forest possesses, and that the place where there was cold, making sure that mosquitoes that suck bones or blood could not live here. Then asks Ian if the female ox-bear knew about those facts, and came here knowing that Ian tells him that the female ox-bear's intelligence is quite high, and that its acquired knowledge is better than its instincts. As they continue to follow the trail of the female ox-bear, the MC could start to feel the coldness of the area due to his body's condition. As he covers his body with his arms, Iron turns around to ask if the MC was feeling cold and that if he was, he could put his body closer to hers. But Vikir tells her that he was fine, warns him that his body temperature could decrease, making his body become stiff. He soon agrees and hugs tightly onto Iron's body, causing her to jolt up and blush heavily. I and Soon grew nervous and thought to herself that she was only doing this because she was concerned for her slave's health and that it was the duty of a master to look after their slave. Bakira soon notices something up ahead. He lets out a fierce growl, which catches both Ion's and the MC attention. They soon noticed that the female ox bear footprints on the ground soon disappeared. Halfway, Iron shouted out that the female ox bear's trace had disappeared. She turns to look around and wondered where the female ox bear had disappeared, to just as a pair of red eyes appear in the shadows right behind Iron. Something fast was approaching Iron at a high speed. She soon realizes it and turns to see what it was. It was the female ox bear. She launches straight towards I and at full speed, with her claws close to Iron, while letting out a devastating roar.